Did you know that condensed milk was invented out of an ultimate obsession with the death of children? And its father was a man who failed at everything. But this invention, which heavily carried the scent of death, is now the favorite dessert of millions. It is in coffee. It is the soul of key lime pie. It camouflages itself in rich, creamy fudge. From a brutal survival solution, it transformed into a symbol of sweetness. So what exactly is condensed milk? And why does it never spoil after months of lying around at room temperature? In reality, the sticky liquid mass you are seeing is a perfect physical camouflage. About 60% of the natural water has been completely stripped away. Instead, tons of sugar are pumped in. According to the strict International Codex Alimentarius standards, the concentration ratio of milk solids to the remaining water reaches 7.3. Sounds complicated? Understand it simply as it has been compressed, becoming about 5 times denser than regular fresh cow's milk. The majority of American consumers today are seriously misunderstanding canned goods. We mistakenly think condensed milk was born as a cheap ingredient for the dessert industry. The truth is completely the opposite. The thing sitting in your kitchen cabinet contains a massive amount of calories, providing about 130 calories with just 2 tablespoons. It is abundant in carbohydrates, calcium, and even vitamin B12. Today, factories also pump additional vitamins A, D3, and B1 into it. But why did humans expend the effort to ruthlessly bend the natural structure of milk to this extent? The answer absolutely does not lie in a recipe. It begins with a haunting tragedy at sea. If we rewind time back to 19th century America, drinking fresh milk was a life or death gamble. There were no refrigerators back then. Bacteria were an invisible phantom, stripping away human lives every day. And the father of the condensed milk industry was a man who had tasted disastrous failure in everything he laid his hands on. He was Gail Borden Jr., born in 1801. Borden once ventured into mechanical engineering. The result? His amphibious horse-drawn carriage invention sank immediately upon testing. Not giving up, he pivoted to the food industry. He went to the trouble of creating the meat biscuit. Although it brought home a gold medal in London, this survival ration made American soldiers vomit because the taste was overwhelmingly awful. However, history always has cold turning points. In 1851, Borden boarded a ship returning from England. Down in the dark hold were diseased dairy cows. The milk supply was heavily contaminated. And right before the eyes of this failed expert, the infants who happened to drink that disastrous milk died one after another. The psychological shock dealt a fatal blow to Borden. From his ultimate obsession, he swore to create a type of milk immune to death. But passion does not naturally spawn miracles. His first 2 manufacturing plants in Connecticut collapsed rapidly within less than a year. Everything seemed to have ended. Until 1857, fate smiled when he accidentally met financier Jeremiah Milbank on a train. A historic agreement was signed. A massive investment of up to $100,000 USD was poured directly into the New York Condensed Milk Company. With money in hand, Borden immediately created a machine that broke all laws of physics and single-handedly established a code of laws ahead of its time. The technical problem at this time was truly baffling. How could one drain 60% of the water from milk without boiling it furiously at 100 degrees Celsius? High temperatures devastate the protein structure, causing the milk to scorch and creating an extremely bitter taste. Borden was a highly astute man. He borrowed the vacuum pan design from the Shaker community in New York, who used it to concentrate fruit juice. When creating a low-pressure sealed chamber environment, the laws of physics change. The water in the milk suddenly evaporates at an extremely low temperature, fluctuating only between 40 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius. This concentration system helps remove water without denaturing the proteins. The sugar also does not get scorched. However, modern machinery is meaningless if the milk source is dirty. This is exactly when Borden's vision shone brilliantly. He resolutely issued the Regulation 10 Commandments of the Dairyman. He forced every farmer selling raw milk to clean their barns flawlessly. They had to wash the cows' udders clean before milking. They had to use boiling water to scald the strainers and then dry them every morning and evening. Today, these things sound all too obvious, don't they? But remember carefully, this strict set of rules was born decades before the scientist Louis Pasteur established food hygiene and safety standards. It was a move of genius. Even so, a perfect machine in the factory was not enough to change the world. Condensed milk needed an extreme circumstance to prove its power. And that circumstance struck when all of America was submerged in a sea of blood. The cruel truth is, condensed milk did not explode in sales because it tasted good. It dominated because it saved human lives. In 1861, the gunfire of the American Civil War broke out. Tens of thousands of Union Army soldiers of the North were pushed into muddy, sweltering, and starving battlefields. Imagine this harsh contrast. While more than 226 kilograms of fresh milk rotted and completely stank under the scorching sun of the South, Borden's cans of condensed milk remained completely inert and immortal. Army generals instantly realized this was the ultimate survival weapon. They immediately signed large-scale orders. Are you curious why soldiers craved it so much? A standard 300 tin can of that era packed a massive energy source of up to 4,300 calories. It contained 28 grams of protein, 1 ounce of fat, and more than 200 grams of pure carbohydrates. It was not a snack. It was a tightly compressed biological energy battery. Research into industrial archive data has revealed an astonishing figure. The frontline demand was so terrifying that by 1863, Borden's factory had to ship out over 13,200 liters of milk per day. The war eventually passed, but its remnants took root permanently. Surviving soldiers brought the habit of using condensed milk back to their hometowns. Military transport routes quickly dispersed these tin cans globally. Surviving through the hail of bullets is one thing, but how could this sweet liquid defeat nature's decomposition for years without a refrigerator? The secret is actually hidden inside an obvious physical concept. Many people still firmly believe that adding tons of sugar acts as a toxic chemical to destroy bacteria. I must correct a common misconception. Sugar does not kill bacteria at all. The immortality of condensed milk operates based on a highly sharp scientific principle called water activity. Let's look deep into the molecular structure. Pure water has a water activity of 1. Any pathogen or mold requires a minimum water activity level of 0.91 to be able to respire, feed, and multiply. This is exactly when the spectacular deception appears. When sugar, accounting for up to 45% of the total weight, is dissolved into the meager amount of water in the milk, a physical reaction explodes. It sharply reduces the osmotic pressure. It tightly binds every remaining free water molecule, pushing the water activity index plunging down to 0.83. At this 0.83 level, bacteria still exist there, but they are completely starved. Without free water, they are paralyzed and cannot multiply. Essentially, the can of milk is a perfect open prison with no walls. It sounds absurd, but adding a massive amount of sugar is not to serve the palate, but to lock away life. Many people often confuse sweetened condensed milk with evaporated milk. That is a fundamental mistake. Evaporated milk contains absolutely no sugar. Due to the lack of this sugar prison, its water activity is very high. For preservation, factories are forced to scorch evaporated milk at a brutal temperature of 118–122 degrees Celsius to kill bacteria. You can never use evaporated milk to replace condensed milk when baking, as it will destroy the dish's texture. Thanks to that clever molecular barrier, condensed milk leisurely stepped through years of harsh preservation, and from there it quietly infiltrated cultures in the strangest way. The idea of concentrating life to carry along is not a privilege of modern times. According to 13th century records by explorer Marco Polo, the fierce Tatar warriors carried up to 4.5 kilograms of condensed milk powder to the battlefield. When needed, they simply took it out and mixed it with water to sustain life. Returning to the present, this tin can of milk is present everywhere and has birthed strange customs. In Latin American countries and Russia, people have an extremely popular practice. They throw an entire sealed can of condensed milk into a pot of boiling water and boil it continuously for 2 to 3 hours. Under the effect of heat in a vacuum environment, the caramelization reaction turns the milk stream into a thick brown paste. In Russia, it is called varianaya skushanka. In South America, it is precisely the globally famous jam Dulce de Leche. Not just stopping at sweets, condensed milk is the indispensable soul of a glass of Vietnamese iced milk coffee. Without it, the Latin American tres leches cake would also become soulless.